In extension education, it is very important for us to understand the underlying principles and philosophies that guides the extension work. So for today, we will be talking about these things. Ano nga ba ang gumagabay, ang philosophy, ang gumagabay sa mga gawain ng mga extension workers? What are their philosophies? What are their purposes? Ano yung mga underlying principles in their actions that guides yung mga methods na ginagawa ng ating mga agricultural extensions? So first off, we need to understand what is philosophy. Philosophy is simply a body of principles underlying a given branch of learning or major discipline, religious system, or human activity. Ang pinaka-purpose ng philosophy is to guide us, to guide our actions, our view of life, para makita natin kung ano ba yung ating current state and ano yung state, ano yung future state na gusto nating marating, and then kung ano ang ating gagawin. Okay? So philosophy is simply thinking and reflecting about our perspective and how, and by doing so, how can we change it so that we can change our life for the better. That is philosophy. So, ganito natin siya tignan. In philosophy, it is important for us to understand that people has an ideal view of life. So, meron silang gustong marating. Ito yon, what ought to be. But at the same time, meron silang current state. Ito yon, what is. So, in extension, yung mga rural folks na tinutulungan natin, meron din silang view of what is and what ought to be. So the purpose, one of the purposes of the extension worker is to determine kung ano to, ano ba kasi ano yung current na estado ng buhay nila, and ano yung gusto nila, so that we can formulate plans and strategies that would bridge that gap. Okay? Now if we do so, if we do so to lead them from their what is going to their what ought to be, then the extension work now will be effective. At the same time, kung yung mga ating clienteles, if our clienteles may what is and meron silang what ought to be, it is also important that the extension worker should think about yung kanilang what is rin and what they wanted to be, and continuously bridge that gap as well. So yung what is, yung ideal view of life ng both the clientele and the extension worker should make the extension work flourish and progress towards a better future. Okay? And one of the ways extension does that, to bridge the gap between what is and what ought to be, is through education. And primarily, meron tayong two philosophies when it comes to extension, when it comes to education in extension. The first one is humanism. Humanism is a philosophy that focuses on man itself. Okay? So sa tao nakafocus ang extension, hindi sa hayop, hindi sa bagay, sa tao. It focuses on his interests, development niya, ano ba yung gusto niya, ano ba yung mga aspirations niya, and paano natin siya matutulungan. The other philosophy in the educational approach of extension is pragmatism. So yes, it is focused on the human being itself, kung ano yung ikabubuti niya, but at the same time, it is focused on practical matters. That's what pragmatism means. It focuses on the usefulness of the approach. It focuses on the usefulness of the science and technology that we are promoting. If it is useful, then it will be, if it is useful, then it would allow the project to continue, and it is an effective way, it is an effective strategy, it is an effective extension strategy that would help our clientele. Yun yung pragmatism. Now, let's leave that behind and we now focus on the different principles or the different guidelines that governs yung work ng extension. So ano ba yung mga different guidelines na yan? Ano ba yung mga different principles na yan? Remember, principles are different from strategies because strategies is basically what you need to do. So kung ang strategies is what to do, ano ba yung gagawin? Whereas ang principles, kumbaga parang isa siyang meta form of thinking na that guides yung mga what to do natin. So kahit anong strategy man ang i-apply natin, dapat nakadikit siya sa mga principles na ito, sa mga prinsipyo na ito. Unang-una, extension as a communication and education. We believe in extension work. That the role of the extension is two ways. Una, the extensionist is a communicator, and pangalawa, he is an educator. As a communicator, ang pinaka-role ng extensionist is to disseminate useful information to the clientele and or to the farmers. Yun ang role niya. Disseminate useful information. As an educator naman, the role of the extensionist is to help our clientele, our farmers, acquire yung mga kinakailangan nilang knowledge, skills, and attitudes na magagamit nila para ma-improve yung kanilang buhay. Okay? So, two roles ang extension worker. As a communicator, passing of information, and as an educator, helping our clients, our farmers, to acquire the necessary things that they need para ma-improve ang kanilang pamumuhay. The second principle of extension is that extension workers work with, this is very important, they work with rural people. Okay? They do not work for the people. Kailangan may collaborative approach wherein yung mga clientels natin, mga farmers natin should participate in the extension work. Okay? Ang primary na function ng extension worker is to just assist the people in improving their lives. So we work not for the rural people, not for our clientels, but with them. Okay? With them, tulong-tulong tayo. May sense of cooperation. Number 3 principles is that extension workers should be accountable to their clientele or to their farmers. What does it mean? Dapat maingat ang mga extension workers sa pagbibigay ng any advice sa mga tao. Kasi kapag yan ay pumalpak, accountable ka dyan. You must admit it. Yes, in our previous slide, we said that, Sir, sama-sama naman yung gawain. We are working with them, di ba? Hindi ba dapat fault of one, fault of all? No. In extension work, kapag nagkamali ka ng binigay mong advice, kailangan mong akuin. Because your accountability will directly influence yung relationship mo sa mga farmers. If they do not see that you are accountable dun sa mga pinagagagawa mo, they will not trust you. At the same time, masasabi mo lang na ang extension work mo is effective not by your own evaluation. So, hindi ikaw ang mag-i-evaluate kung effective yung extension work mo, pero yung clientele. Okay? So, they are the one who will pass the judgment if your extension project is a success or failure. Next principle is that extension work involves a two-way process linkage, which means hindi lang tayo namimigay and nagdi-disseminate and nagtuturo ng information sa kanila. Okay? So kung sila to, hindi lang tayo namimigay ng information. Kumukuha rin tayo ng feedback from them para mapaganda ang ating extension work. So napakaganda, di ba? So hindi lang as an extension worker, we are not just teaching them on how to make their lives better. We are not just working with them to do that. We are also continuously monitoring and evaluating feedback from them para magamit natin yun sa pag-i-improve ng ating proyekto. Kasi it is very important to always consider yung tinatawag nating wealth of experience ng ating mga farmers and ng ating mga clienteles. The next principle is that extension cooperates with other agencies. Bakit kailangan ng other agencies when you're doing extension work? Hindi ba pwedeng ako na lang kasi magaling naman ako, di ba? Well, ang extension work involves a lot of economic and social facets. Okay? Ang buhay ng farmer and ang buhay ng clientele ay naaapektuhan ng napakaraming factors. Like for example, economic factors, yung kanyang wealth, social factors, paano ba siya nakikisalamuha sa kanyang community, cultural, may kanya-kanyang culture ang bawat rural areas na pupuntahan natin, political, even the politics itself has an effect to that farmer. So that is why it is important for us to partner both with government and non-governmental organizations to address yung mga problems na makikita natin sa mga areas na to. So kapag ikaw ay agri-extensionist, you are not just focusing primarily on agriculture per se. You are focusing on farmers, and then yung help na ibibigay mo ay hindi lang dapat agri-related. Kasi kapag nakita mo na may problema sa ibang factors ng buhay nila, then it is also your responsibility to help them solve that problem. And one of the ways to solve that is by having a strong connection or strong network of people both in the government and non-governmental positions cooperating with other agencies para makuha mo yung network na yun and leverage it into your own advantage to help yung ating clienteles and farmers. Next one, and the last one, I believe, the last principle of extension is that the extension worker will always work with different groups of people. And ibig sabihin yan, there is no approach that solves everything. There is no approach that solves everything. Hindi porket naging effective yung extension work mo sa isang lugar, magiging effective na yun doon sa lugar na pupuntahan mo in the future. That is why it's very important to always know yung differences ng mga target groups natin in terms of social status, cultural, and economic backgrounds. Kailangan nating alamin yung mga ganun para ma-tailor fit natin yung extension approach natin into these different groups of people. So by following all of these principles, all of these guidelines, by being guided by these principles, by being guided with these principles, nagkakaroon na ngayon ng purpose ang extension. Ano ba kasi yung 4 main purposes of extension? Una, informative. That's also part of their roles. They help people make well-considered choices among alternatives. So we inform the people, okay? We inform our farmers, our clienteles, para magkaroon sila ng idea of choices na pwede nilang piliin. It's number 1, purpose of extension. Number 2 is emancipatory, which ibig sabihin yan, to uplift yung nasa laylayan, to uplift the marginalized, to uplift the poor. So we want to uplift their lives, to uplift their mindset, per se. So to uplift their mindset para mas ma-empower sila. Malaman nila, ma-realize nila sa sarili nila na meron pala silang kakayahan para i-improve yung kanilang buhay. That's emancipatory. Formative naman ang purpose ng extension if we target on developing yung skills and capabilities ng mga tao, ng ating mga farmers and ng ating mga clienteles. One term for formative extension na pwede nating gamitin is yung tinatawag nating HRD or Human Resource Development. Okay? So the purpose of extension is also persuasive kasi we want to persuade our clientele to behave in a way na mag-i-improve ng buhay nila and that would prevent any behavior, anything that would make their lives worse. So by informing them, we are also persuading them to behave in a different manner that we believe would change their lives. These are the four main purposes of extension. And extension work, let's see, is very important in the university. Ngayon, kapag ikaw ay isang state university or any universities here in the Philippines, we know that merong trifold functions ang bawat university. Unang-una, the function nila is instruction, which is offering degree programs sa mga estudyante, sa mga kabataan na gustong makapagtapos ng kanilang baccalaureate to doctoral levels, di ba? And yung isang function nila is on research naman, wherein they conduct basic and applied researches in various fields, no? Publishing new knowledge that would improve yung lives that they are publishing new knowledges that would push yung knowledge at the same time improve lives in general. Pero yung pangatlong function ng university now delves in extension. Kailangan ginagamit yung mga nakukuha nating technology dito sa research and yung nakukuha nating skills sa instruction para i-disseminate yan sa community. Okay? So, ang university pala ay hindi lang siya pang estudyante. Isa pala sa mga function niya is for the community. So, nandyan ang university para matulungan ang community through various extension work. In agriculture naman, the objective of extension is, okay, so agriculture related na to, ano ang goal ng extension? Una is to disseminate yung technology, inventions, results of studies sa ating mga farmers. So, kailangan nilang malaman kung mayroong bang bago that would improve yung kanilang kabuhayan as farmer. We also train our farmers. We train them para magkaroon sila, maka-acquire sila, maka-obtain sila ng bagong knowledge and skills. So that's one thing as well. And we also promote information and technology kasi ang information ay napakahalaga niyan sa buhay ni farmer. So minsan, ang gap between improving the farmer's lives, the problem kung bakit hindi nag-i-improve yung buhay ni farmer, yung kabuhayan ni farmer is because they lack the technology. And one of the things that they lack per se is yung access. Kaya mahalaga na sa extension, ginagawa nating accessible itong mga information na to, itong mga technology na to, para madali lang kay farmer na kumuha ng information and igamitin yun agad sa kanyang farm kung kailangan niya. Intervention in extension means basically a systematic approach kung saan ina-apply natin yung mga different resources natin to manipulate the situation and achieve something of value. Okay? Ang purpose ng intervention, so basically ang intervention is para kang nagluluto. So gagamitin mo yung mga resources mo, yung mga nalalaman mo, yung resources ng community para maka-achieve ka ng isang ongoing social objective. Okay? Ang purpose niya, of course, is to achieve para ma-obtain natin yung goal nung intervener. Okay? Through a series of proactive action. So ang goal is ma-achieve natin yung goal ni intervener. And ang outcome na gusto natin makuha is mag-induce tayo ng voluntary change. Voluntary means hindi napipilitan. So, ang goal ng isang intervention sa extension ay para mag-cause tayo ng voluntary change sa ating mga clientele that would satisfy yung kanilang pangangailangan and help them achieve yung desired results nila. Okay? So, that is basically a short overview of what is intervention in extension. Dako naman tayo sa different methods that would allow the extension worker to influence yung kanyang clientele. So what are the different methods that allows us to influence our farmers in agricultural extension? Let's see. Unang-una, meron tayong approach of compulsion or coercion. Okay? Takutin mo sila. Mag-exert ka ng power para sumunod sila sa utos mo. So that's compulsion or coercion. Yan. Pakitaan mo sila ng tigre. Kung hindi sila susunod sa'yo, kakainin sila ng tigre. Parang ganon. Anyways, para maging effective ang compulsion and coercion, although medyo may ethical issue yan, pero I'm just talking to you about the approach. I'm not saying that this is the right way. I'm just talking to you the different approaches to influence human behavior. Anong condition para maging effective ang compulsion or coercion? Una, dapat meron kang authority. And dapat may power dynamics. Ibig sabihin, merong isang nakakataas and merong isang mababa. And yung mababa, siya yung susunod dun sa nakatataas. Dapat yung instruction ay malinaw. Okay? And merong direct path to compliance. Ano ba yung gagawin para masunod kita? That's the question. And of course, dapat may constant monitoring. Binabantayan ka kung gagawin mo ba yung pinapagawa sa'yo. So that's compulsion or coercion approach. What are other approaches to influence human behavior? We also have exchange. Ito, maganda yung exchange kasi it involves reciprocity or yung pagbibigayan. Ano yung condition para ma-influence mo ang behavior ng tao through exchange? Una, dapat yung ipinagpapalitan nyo, una is that kapag kayo ay nagpalitan, dapat both of you makikinabang. So may mutual benefit. Pangalawa, dapat yung pagpapalitan nyo, yung gift or service na i-exchange nyo, dapat desired by both parties. Hindi naman po pwedeng, hindi ko gusto yung ibibigay mo sa akin. Dapat both of you desires what each of you has to offer. And may conditional delivery, which basically means dapat tumutupad sa usapan. So kapag magkakaroon ka ng exchange at may usapan kayo, kailangan tumupad sa usapan because once that is broken, the delivery of a mutually be seen as a good or service, kapag nabali yon, magkakaroon na ng trust issues. Okay. Another form of influencing human behavior is through advice, which is basically the providing of guidance, recommendations, or suggestion. In order for advice to be effective, unang-una, dapat yung advisor at yung kanyang clientele, meron silang shared understanding, may common understanding sila sa kung ano ba yung problema at ano yung mga possible na solutions. Pangalawa, dapat yung advisor mo, yung nagbibigay ng advice, dapat expert siya and he or she is knowledgeable. And pangatlo, dapat yung humihingi ng advice, dapat may confidence siya doon sa advisor. Ibig sabihin, pinagkakatiwalaan niya, naniniwala siya na magaling itong advisor na to, and receptive siya. So if all these three things happen, then advice can be an effective way to influence human behavior. Another approach is to openly influence yung knowledge and attitude ni farmer. Ginagamit natin yan kapag ang problema ni farmer is caused by insufficient or incorrect knowledge and attitude. Yung kanyang mindset do not align doon sa goal na gusto niya. So may mga situation na gano'n. Yes, gusto ni farmer na umunlad yung buhay niya, pero yung mindset niya ay taliwas doon sa pag-unlad ng buhay. Okay? For example, gusto niyang maging mayaman, pero tinitignan naman niya ang pera as something na evil. So there's something wrong with that. Okay? So, kapag ganun ang problem natin, we need to openly influence the farmer's knowledge and attitude. It's either we provide new information, that would cause change, or we allow them to collaborate with us para magkaroon ng trust and cooperation. Kasi we can better influence yung ating mga farmers if they trust us and if they cooperate with us. The other approach would be manipulation, although beware lang ulit, there is an ethical issue here if you choose to imply it. if you choose to employ it. So you need to be very careful, okay? You need to be very careful when choosing this approach. Ano ba ang manipulation? Manipulation is basically influencing an individual without their knowledge. Okay? So like for example, ito, para silang nagiging puppet. Kasi you are pulling the strings so that they would act or behave in a certain way. Ano yung mga different techniques to influence people? Una, subtle influence. Yan yung we used information. One strategy here is we use information and let's say, i-prepare and i-deliver natin yung information na yun in a way na nakakapagpahikayat. So for example, meron kang bagong technology, let's say, na nakakapag-improve ng yield ng patatas. So nai-improve yung yield ng patatas, let's say, ng 100 kilos. Ngayon, kapag dineliver mo yun, mag-i-improve yung yield ng patatas mo ng 100 kilos, hindi siya ganun ka-appealing. Pero kapag nilagyan mo na ng presyo, which is sa tenga ng farmer, yun yung mahalaga, yung presyo. Let's say, sasabihin mo, 100 kilos times 50 pesos, ito yung makukuha yung additional income. Yan, subtle influence yan. You are using the information, you are packaging and delivering the information na mas maging appealing sa mga farmers. Another technique would be controlled messaging. Ibig sabihin yan, may mga i-withhold kang information. So may mga information ka na hindi sasabihin kay farmer because you think na kapag nabanggit mo yun, baka mag-boomerang effect yung kanilang utak. Okay? Instead na positive yung kanilang perspective sa technology and knowledge na binibigay mo, magiging negative. So you are controlling the message. So these are two techniques in the approach of manipulation. But remember, again, may ethical issue yan. So you need to be very, very careful with employing this kind of method. Okay? Another one would be by providing means or providing the resources na kailangan ni farmer. This is very, very much appropriate if kapag si farmer meron siyang goal na gusto. So appropriate naman yung goal niya. Tama naman, gusto naman natin. Pero may deficiency sa kanyang resources. So may kulang. Possibly wala siyang pera, wala siyang resources to achieve that goal. And merong isang extension agent that is willing to provide yung means na yun. So if these three conditions are met, then we can actually, as an extension worker, provide means sa ating mga farmers. The other one is yung partner niya, which is to provide services. Kanina, means we're talking about tangible things here. We're talking about resources here, okay? In providing means. In providing services naman, we're talking about intangible things of services. And ano yung criteria para makapag-provide tayo ng service? Ito, the extension worker here, the extension worker here is the one providing the service. So ano yung mga different criteria? Una, dapat yung extension worker, meron siyang expertise and resources para gawin yung service na yon. Pangalawa, dapat may mutual agreement si farmer at extension worker na gawin yun. Kasi kung wala silang mutual agreement, iisipin ni farmer na, nagte-trespass to sa aking personal boundaries. So, dapat meron kang approval from the farmer na gagawin mo yung serbisyo na to para sa kanila. And that you are willing to assist. Baka naman kasi mamaya, sinabi mo na you are willing to provide that service, but then, later on, after a few days, ayaw mo nang ibigay kasi tinatamad ka na or natambahan ka ng trabaho. So, that's a big no-no. So, if these three things are met, then the way of providing service to influence behavior will be effective. Lastly, is to change the socio-economic structure. Now, this one is more of a broader approach to influence human behavior. Yung mga napag-usapan natin from the previous slides on how to influence behavior, medyo direct yung approach niya sa farmer. Pero for this approach, changing the socio-economic structure, medyo indirect na siya and broader na yung ini-involve natin ng mga tao. We're not just influencing here the farmers, but we are influencing people who can influence the lives of our farmers. So we are now, say, influencing policymakers. Okay? Yung Senate natin, yung Congress natin. So may efforts now to lobby a particular policy na sa tingin natin makakatulong sa pamumuhay ng farmers natin. We are also influencing yung mga leaders sa community or yung mga professionals sa community para tulungan yung mga farmers. Now, if these things happen, then we are influencing human behavior by changing the socio-economic structure. Ano yung mga conditions to achieve that? Dapat may shared goals, dapat na ibabahagi mo yung mga policy, yung mga advocacy na to sa mga farmers. May structural barriers. So ang pinaka-problem natin is that hindi sa ayaw ni farmer i-improve yung buhay nila, pero socio-economically speaking, merong barrier na kailangang mawala. So paano mawawala yon? By advocating it sa Congress, by implementing a particular policy. Those are the ways. And dapat nakikita natin na if this socio-economic structure if this socio-economic structure will be changed, or if these structural barriers will be removed, nagkakaroon ng change. Change that would not just help one individual farmer, but the community itself.